Hi, my name is Tammy,
And I'm Jen.
and they call us Woo.
Welcome back, everybody. If you have not listened to episode 9, episode 10 is a continuation of that. So you might want to go back and listen to that before you listen to this one. Otherwise, you might be just a tad bit confused. So we look forward to seeing you in episode 9 and episode 10, and we will talk to you soon. Yeah. Um, so then I also, most of the time, if I'm channeling, I will channel Wind Eagle. Um, I will also channel Ling Yao.
That's
Um,
that's who the one that came forward for me was, right? Ling
yep,
Yao. Okay.
yep. So sometimes, so sometimes her and Wind Eagle work together, and it's interesting because they speak different languages, and I'll talk about their languages a little bit more. But they speak different languages, but it's similar. It's just the tones and the inflection are a little bit different. So one of them is definitely more um like I don't know if I think she's Chinese medicine, but I'm not sure. Um I don't know, but that is what it sounds like to me when it comes out.
Well, I
But I
suppose if
don't
there's a
know.
lot of ancient, this
Yeah.
isn't necessarily what we understand the world to be now.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's ancient, it doesn't necessarily go with a country that we know
Yep.
now.
Yep.
That makes
But
sense.
from my human ears, it sounds more like that than anything else.
Hmm.
Um, so then when Wind Eagle comes in, you've already said it sounds more Native American.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to give people a little bit of an idea of like the tones and the vocal inflections.
Hmm.
Um, and so sometimes when they're speaking to each other, they understand each other because what they're actually speaking in is light language. So, light language is energetic vibrations that come forward that actually touch you at your core. So, it's healing energy that's coming out in a vocal tone.
Hmm.
Um, so, it might sound like a specific language to us, but it's actually different forms of light language.
Okay.
Um, and sometimes if people are receiving healing, sometimes they'll see me like making different hand gestures. That's also a form of light language. It's symbolic light language. So it's like a written form of light language.
Like
um
Reiki attunements and stuff like that use a similar
yes,
form, right? Okay.
yes,
Which we'll talk about Reiki another time, but
yeah.
Reiki is energy
Yes,
work.
yes. But so sometimes when I'm doing healing work, they'll come forward and one will speak and then the other one will answer. So it's like this back and forth. And
Mm.
sometimes I just sit giggling to myself because I'm like, how strange does this sound to the person on my table? Because it will be like one language, another language, one language, another language, but they're actually responding to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, because I'm curious, they will give me kind of a translation of what's happening, or I'll be getting the image of what they're actually doing within the body, because they'll be doing healing work and talking to each other about what's actually going on in the body. So I'm getting the visual of what's going on in the body, and they're talking
So
about
we have
it.
like all these body workers in the room at the same
Yes.
time.
And it's amazing, and I love it. But I'm sure it sounds really bizarre to people on the table because they're like, who in
they
the
might
heck is talking
they
now?
might not even know the difference, or just yeah.
Yeah.
I would feel like unless you're really paying attention, or you are trying to analyze what's happening, I don't even know that anybody would really think that hard about it. But
Yeah.
describing the light languages does make a lot of sense to me when I was talking earlier about not necessarily needing to know the English translation
Yep.
and having that feeling like I understood what I was supposed to understand out of it.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And at some point, too, when we are talking more about just energy and frequencies and stuff like that, it's interesting to bring the science back into all of this and talk more about how many different things energy can be. I mean, it can be interpreted as language, as heat, as light, as sound, you know, like all these different cool things. And really, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. It was kind of the way that I started to be less skeptical and understand a little bit more about how energy works was when it occurred to me that scientifically, I know that everything is literally just made up of energetic explosions. That's how everything functions, you know, just little energy bursts. And when it occurred to me that those two things don't conflict, like the way that you can interpret energy, and I might have talked about this before, I can't remember. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, listeners.
Yeah.
But I thought about things like when you can feel the energy in the room, but we don't necessarily interpret it as like understanding energy. How everybody can do this. You can walk into a room and you can interpret the feeling of the room, not based on any visual information or any of that type of stimulus, but just because it feels a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when someone's just been arguing when you walk into a room, even if you're not looking at them and their body language, you know when something feels good and pleasant when you walk in into a room. You understand a lot of things energetically, even if you don't think that you're an energy worker or
Yep.
whatever the case may be. So describing the light language and all of that makes sense because you're just on you're just able to tune into a frequency that not everybody can tune into and just interpret energy in a different way. Is that kind of an accurate description of what it is you're doing and what your guides are doing when they're communicating? They're just trying to communicate in a way that they give the information to us in a little bit more clear manner.
Yeah.
If we're not on that frequency with them where we understand the light language.
Yeah. Well, and so sometimes human beings try to figure everything out. Like our logical brains step in all the time and they're like, well, this doesn't make sense and this doesn't seem right. And I don't understand this. So this. So sometimes when beings step forward and they speak in light language or in completely different language that we don't understand, our brain can't figure it out, so we can't go to that space. It's like you remove the language from it, because if I were to tell you, like, if you do this and this, you could totally heal your life. Like, you could heal everything that's going on in your body. Your human brain is going to say, well, that's too hard, and I don't want to do that, and I don't like drinking water, and I don't like doing this, and I don't like, and create all of these responses based on your previous experience. If somebody steps in and they speak a completely different language to you that just like rolls into your body and just sounds beautiful and you don't understand what it means, you can't make up all those other stories. You can't recall all of the other stories to argue with it. So
That's
it's
a good point.
You receive all of the information, like at the core, you receive all of that information and it just washes over you and your body will integrate the information. It's like, I could tell you exactly how to like fix whatever's going on. And if you think it's hard, or you think you can't do it, or you've been told you can't do it, you're going to find every reason not to do it. And you're not going to process and integrate that information because you're going to go with your initial response of, oh, that's too hard.
You're just not ready to absorb it.
Yes. And so spirit understands that. These other beings understand that we're vibration. And if you can hit us at our core, like get that information in there so that we can integrate it and we can absorb that information, there's more of a chance that we're going to actually integrate that and allow ourselves to heal fully. And so there are a lot of people who channel different light languages. There's so many different forms of light language. Some of them sound super bizarre because they're just like clicks and chirps and like all kinds of weird noises that come out of people's mouths. There have only been a few times that those things have come out of me. which is very strange. Like when it happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, where did that noise come from? Like I sound like a pterodactyl right now. What is happening? Um, but like inevitably when those things come out of you, whoever's in the room with you is like, oh my gosh, that felt like home. Like it was so beautiful to me. And it just resonates with whoever's in front of you because it was meant for them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it might feel weird to me sometimes to channel whatever's coming out, but it's meant for the person who's in front of me. It's not necessarily meant for me. Sometimes I need to hear it too, but when spirit is coming in, when other beings are coming in, they know what's going on with the person in front of you. They know way more than I do because they're looking at it from way up here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at human stuff. And so, like, it can be so powerful and so impactful for people because one, there's no way I would know any of the things that's that's being delivered to them.
Mm-hmm.
But two, they're receiving the energetic information that they need. And so it's a beautiful process. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've channeled when I wasn't fully in my body and come back and people are just bawling and I'm like, but they're bawling because something made sense to them. And
Mm-hmm.
like they finally received the information that they needed. Um so so that's always beautiful. But like Wind Eagle, when he's channeling, like the language that he speaks, yes, it's light language, but it's also like a compilation of different native languages that have been brought together. So he is from a collective of beings that is um shaman who've walked on this earth that have ascended. Um and they have come together in this collective to share this ancient knowledge. And so it's been interesting when I've been channeling him because I've channeled him in several different settings where there's a lot of people in the setting.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably somebody comes up to me and goes, "You were speaking this language." Like, because a lot of the circles that I'm in, people have been trained in different theology, different languages, different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had several people come up to me and say, that was ancient Inca. That was this was this. Like, and it's really interesting because it's different tribal languages that haven't been used for a while. And it's like bringing all of those energies together, using some of those words to touch very specific people who are in the audience, but bringing all the energies together from all of these different shaman and all of these different tribes.
Okay.
Because it is all about bringing people together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, his message is about how we're all one and bringing people together most of the time. Sometimes he's just calling me out on crap, but like, but it's been really interesting because people will say, "Oh, you said this sentence in there and it was Inca. It was Inca. You said this sentence in there and it was Cherokee. You said this sentence and it was whatever." So it's been interesting because I don't know any of those languages. I wish I knew all those languages, but I don't. And so when people can tell me that there was a sentence in there that they understood,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, okay. Like, because there have been times that I'm like, oh crap, am I making this up? Like, like I have no idea what came out of my mouth. Is this like, and I'll be real about it. Like sometimes you do question because you have no idea like what impact you have on the people who are in front of you sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it can be scary because it's like, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't think this is me, but like, where is it coming from? And so there have definitely been times that I've questioned myself, like, who the heck do you think you are that this person is going to come speak through you? Like,
Well, it's got to be really bizarre, a
yeah,
bizarre experience.
yeah,
There must be a lot of energy around this because I'm get my little throat thing that I get sometimes.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so there was two questions that came to mind. I'm going to say both of them. So hopefully between
Okay.
the two of us, we can remember what to
I'm going to
come
write
back
them
to.
down. I'm going to write them down.
So the first was, I know this is probably an oversimplification and hard to put in a nutshell, but what is the point of these? Like, what are these guides trying to do? What is their point? What is the purpose of them even trying to communicate with us in the first place? What are they trying to bring to the table? What are they trying to accomplish for us little humans?
Okay.
The second is something that we talked about a little bit before, about the similarities between channeling and catching the Holy Spirit. And there's a lot of people who understand in the religious language of catching the Holy Spirit. And we talked a little bit about how it's really the same thing. And I apologize if I'm offending any religious people by saying that. It's not meant to be offensive. It's just meant to really understand how none of our beliefs actually really conflict that much. And this is help people understand this is not as weird as you think it is. It's just a different way of describing things. So, yeah, whichever one you want to take first.
So I'll take the one about the similarities between channeling and catching the Holy Spirit or speaking in tongues. So speaking in tongues really is channeling. And I will bring up something that a friend of mine has said many, many times, that a lot of the time human beings are channeling. Like when you're standing in front of your friend and your friend is crying and you have no idea what to say, and all of a sudden the perfect thing comes out of your mouth to help them move through whatever situation, a lot of the time we're receiving a channel. We're receiving information and we are channeling that for the person who's in front of us. This is normal for human beings. Like, we are divine beings. We are connected to divine energies. We are part of source energy. We're part of the whole. And so all of the information that's out there is part of us. So when we receive the exact right thing to say that we have no idea where it came from, it's because we are pulling it from the collective energy. We are pulling it from that space of wholeness. And so, like, we all channel all the time.
That's cool.
Like, a lot of people, when they're writing, they're like, oh, I don't know where that beautiful thing came from. Well, we're channeling the information. Like, we are a channel. Like, our channel is always open. We are a big open vessel to receive information, to give information. Like, anytime we're teaching, we are channeling information. And so all of us are channels. Just sometimes some of us know where the information's coming from. We know that we're receiving it from XYZ person, or we're allowing ourselves to open up to actually embody that person so that they can speak through you. So the whole speaking in tongues and catching the Holy Spirit, it really is like people are allowing themselves to be in this state where they've been so moved or so touched by the information that's coming through that they allow themselves to be fully open so that they can provide the information to the other people around them. Like, they're receiving the energy, like Holy Spirit is touching them and saying, please share this. Like,
well, it's interesting too, because I mean, I've read the Bible more times than I can count with, you know, the religion I was in when I was young, from when I was born to actually not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, it's interesting as you were saying that. I'm like, even more connection for me is in the Bible. Holy Spirit is referred to as God's active force. So it's really referred to in the same way that we refer to energy, and the way that it moves and the way that it does things. It's just, you can't, excuse me. Okay, you can't see it, but you can feel it, and it's a way of things, you know, being fulfilled or whatever. So when you're talking about opening yourself up to these light languages and this energy and being part of the whole collective, it's really not different than even the way the Bible is describing what Holy Spirit is. I think it really comes down to a difference in belief of where it's coming from and whether or not it comes from a divine source, whether or not it comes from God, whether you believe in a God, or if you believe in like a Trinity, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, or whether you believe in several gods. It seems like really what it comes down to is just a belief system of where it's coming from as you're describing these divine or, other energies, entities, whatever you want to call them. It's interesting to me how it's really all the same thing, just different words to describe it. And I know some people are going to be like, no, it's not. I'm getting this Holy Spirit from Jesus. Or, no, it's not. I don't believe that there is one God, or I don't believe that, Jesus is really giving this information. But it's really, wherever the information's coming from, it's all happening the same way. Yep. So I think that's super interesting, describing it the way that you did, people being open to those energies.
Yep.
And being moved by Holy Spirit is, it's the same as channeling.
Yeah. Well, and like speaking in tongues, when I was younger, I used to be like, oh my gosh, that's so strange. Like people stand up in church and just start speaking in tongues and whatever. And I didn't go to a church like that growing up, but I saw it like on TV, or I heard about it from friends, and like spontaneous healing in church and things like that. And I was always like, that's so strange to me. And then as I started to get a little bit older, I started to ask more questions to Spirit about it. Like, what is this? And like, it was very clear, like, everybody can do this. Everybody can receive this information. It's just a way for us to get the information out to more people. And that brings us to the other question, like, what's the point? Like, why do they want to share this information with us? And it really comes back to, we're all one. Like, we're all from the same energy. And if there is one person here who has not found truth for themselves and has not found peace and love and joy for themselves, everybody's on the same mission to come back to that loving state. And so the beings who are already on the other side are going, hey, if I can help you come back to this loving state, we're one step closer to being whole. Like, we're one step closer to being in this huge love bubble, like loving up on each other. Bubble. Yeah. Like, I kind of feel like I am in the love bubble, but
you are, like, all the time.
But that's what it's about. It's bringing everybody back to that state of wholeness. And not to make it sound like it's a selfish thing where everybody who's on the other side is like, get your shit together, lady, like, come back to the love bubble. Like, it's not like that. It's like, hey, I know what this is like, and I want to bring this peace to you too. And like, we're all here to help each other. And it's just like, me being here in this space, the more of my own work that I do, the closer that I bring myself to forgiveness, the closer that I bring myself to peace, the closer I bring myself to like standing in unconditional love. Like, me being in that space is going to affect other people who are on this planet right now. Like, if I'm standing across from somebody who is in the worst mindset, the worst place, just by standing in my own beingness, just by standing in my own peace and love, it's going to bring a certain sense of that to that person. They're going to see that it's possible. They're going to see that there are other people who can give them love and give them care. It can help change the world.
Oh, absolutely.
And people don't recognize that always.
That's true. I see the way things are right now, and America's in quite a state of turmoil right now. There's a lot of interfighting and stuff like that. Not saying it's not happening around the world. It's just the perspective that I see the most of since I live here. But what I see happening, so there's a lot of people who might argue about this, what feels like kind of this evangelical Christian, people feel like it's kind of being forced on people sometimes, or they're getting this really like visceral reaction to which side of the fence are you on, which unfortunately has become a big political thing, and that's kind of complicated everything.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing is people who, especially after going through all the stuff with the pandemic and having a lot of isolation from each other, the advent of all of the strides we've made in technology that allow us to be more separate and still get things done and not have as much communication with other people face to face.
Yeah.
It has shifted things, it's changed things in a way, and people are searching for something to make them feel better. I think a lot of this is people just they're tired of feeling lonely and upset. They're tired of not feeling that love. Someone is offering them an answer that sounds appealing. It makes them feel better. It makes them feel more comforted. So they're going towards these things. And I don't necessarily I mean, I have my own viewpoints. My personal belief is everyone should be able to believe whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as they're not harming somebody, we shouldn't be trying to either force our beliefs on people or try to judge them for their beliefs. I understand that there's a lot more nuance to this, and sometimes harm can come. Everyone's definition of harm is different. That's not what I'm talking about right now. Talking about an overarching perspective is people are searching for community. They're searching for something that feels caring. They are scared and they're alone. And then we're constantly being told that there's more things to be afraid of. And unfortunately, sometimes the things we're told to be afraid of are the people who live next door to us, or the people who are, doing all these terrible things by living their life however they want to live their life. It's really not different, though. If I can speak from the more religious standpoint, interestingly enough, there's a lot of the more evangelical mindset that thinks that people who, catch the Holy Spirit or speak in tongues are crazy, and that that's not godly, that they shouldn't be doing that.
Oh.
That was the way that I was raised. Catching the Holy Spirit was not considered godly. That's not the way that we did things. It was a lot more, controlled, in the sense of like we had to be really clear about who we were and our honesty and integrity, and that was considered a little too much on the woo side. Okay. So, I was always taught that was not the right way to do things, and people who are catching the Holy Spirit were not necessarily practicing an interaction with God like they thought they were. Now, I've even heard this from other people not in that religion that have kind of moved more that direction. I talked to a lot of different people from a lot of different faiths. And one in particular I've been having a lot of conversations with, she and her family have started to kind of move more towards, they befriended some people who do more things like getting rid of demonic entities, and feeling that feeling when you catch the Holy Spirit, having a visceral body and body reaction, or things coming out of your mouth, things like that. So the particular person I was talking to, they're kind of being shunned by their family right now, who think that they are being crazy by going this direction. So even within this kind of what you think of this religious community of Christianity, there's a lot of different nuance to it. But interestingly enough, just because that mindset doesn't think that catching the Holy Spirit is a real thing, it doesn't change, like what you were saying earlier, those feelings you have when you're really touched and moved by something. That happened all the time. And just because they weren't like writhing on the floor or speaking in a language that people didn't understand, didn't mean that they weren't still doing the same thing, but they were just calling it something different.
Yep.
So really, as you describe this, the way my perspective has changed a lot is this makes more sense to me, that instead of a really very specific way of teaching how to believe, understanding that all belief systems really lead back to the same thing. We
Yep.
all believe that we're part of a bigger picture. Someone might say, someone ascended and reached a different level, or, they're part of a collective, whatever. That might be the same way someone describes going to heaven.
Yep.
It's just all of these things are very similar, and
Yeah.
all the belief systems that really ultimately, when you get back to the core of them, all religions really come down to the same thing, which is what you were talking about, which is love your neighbor, show love to each other, support each other, try to offer hope, try to offer a connection with something bigger than themselves.
Mhm.
It's all the same. It's just a different way
Yeah.
of describing it. So the idea that we are willing to, when it comes down to it, I mean, religion has caused more wars than anything else. We're willing to kill each other, when the reality is we're not actually speaking different languages.
No, no.
Now, if there's someone that's preaching violence and stuff like that, yeah, I guess I don't know any like belief system that's core has started in violence. I could be wrong. I mean, I obviously don't know all the things in the world, but everyone I've talked to who has any type of faith always describes the same things, whether they believe it came from Jesus' teaching, whether they believe it came from, the Prophet Muhammad's teachings, whether they believe that it came from Buddha,
Mhm.
or any of these different things. It all basically is the same message.
Yep.
So, whether you believe channeling is real or not, whether you believe catching the Holy Spirit is a real thing, whether you believe that you can actually channel, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
doing it whether you believe it or not.
Yes. Yes. Well, and so when you were talking about like church experiences and how things are always happening, whether or not people are writhing on the floor and speaking in tongues and all
Mm-hmm.
those things. What I was getting was to talk about like song and worship.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of different traditions use song and
Mm-hmm.
sound. And this is one more way to energetically touch people. Sound is vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So that vibration is interacting with your core, with every cell in your body is interacting with those vibrations. Vibration can help us heal, vibration can help us feel, vibration can help us sense what's going on around us. So those songs that we sing, the ones that touch us and we start crying or we
Mm-hmm.
dance or whatever our reaction is while we're worshiping in any type of ceremony, it's a way to touch our humanness and connect us to divine energies. It's a way to bring us back to our natural vibration. So a lot
That
of
makes a
those,
lot of sense. So when we're
Mhm.
singing, it is changing our vibration and frequency, because
Yes.
that makes
Yeah.
so much sense. I
Yeah.
never put that
So
together.
it's a form of toning. So
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about toning at a different time, but toning is allowing yourself to create a certain vibration through singing or speaking certain
Mm-hmm.
tones. And it creates a vibration within your body and it's a resonance that goes through the whole body. And so when you're speaking or singing in ceremony or in some type of worship or even receiving that information, you are actually changing the vibration within the body based on the resonant sound that you're receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know we've talked about drums before because I drum,
Mm-hmm.
and like the drum is like the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So you are bringing your energy down, grounding into your body. The specific beat, the specific tone, the specific vibration is interacting with your body to bring you to a more balanced, grounded state, like bring you into more connection with Mother Earth. That's the energy that you're embodying while you're
Sure.
doing that. So it's just another sound, and vibration is a huge part of who we are. If you look at ceremonies and you look at worship for decades and decades and decades, look all the way back, most people are using rattles, drums, they're using their voices
It's a
because,
huge part of worship, and it always has been,
yep,
or just
yep,
any type of spiritual
yep,
ceremony, like you said.
yeah. So it changes your vibration and it connects you. It connects you to the whole again. And so channeling is the same thing. Like, especially if you're channeling light language where you're doing tones or you're doing sounds, again, you're changing the vibration. Like, words are vibration. So I know I've talked before about I am statements, and this is something else I was talking about this morning. Um, like when we say I am this, I am that, like I am fat, I am ugly, I am beautiful, I am loved, I am hated, whatever words you're saying, that's a vibration that you're putting directly into the core of your body. You're putting that directly into every single cell because it's vibration. And vibration changes the way that we're actually made up. So, like when I talked about it before on the show, it was talking about the I am statement when people say I am a victim. Like you're creating that energy. Like by putting those words out, you're re-imprinting them into your system and your body resonates with this. And
So,
so like
kind of like reinforcing that you don't have any control in the situation.
yes.
Which
And
honestly, again, there's a lot of nuance to that, and we kind of talked about that
yes.
before. It's not
Yep,
saying
and
that
I'm
people are not victims of
yep.
things.
Nope,
It's
I'm just saying strictly the
reinforcing with
vibration.
yourself. Yeah.
Yep, just strictly the vibration of those words. Anytime you say I am, you are putting that I am statement has a very specific frequency that tells your body this is what you are. Like this is what you're creating right now. And so when you say I am beautiful, you are creating the energy of self-love and compassion and beauty and like everything that goes along with that. But the second you say I am fat or I am whatever, you're reinforcing that energy. You're creating more of that energy within the core of who you are in every cell of your body. So like any sound that's coming out of our mouth, any sound that's reverberating through our body, any sound that we're hearing is creating that energetic vibration and that frequency. So like
Man,
if
there's a
you
lot. There's a lot of energy around this whole conversation. I'm
yes, I
like
was gonna
hacking up
say,
along
and
over here.
like there are so many things looking at different frequencies of different bands and different music. Like they've actually done some studies on like music that has been around for long periods of time, and the frequencies are very similar because they're easy for our bodies to digest. There's other bands who like one hit wonders. The frequency of those songs or the frequency of that specific music doesn't resonate at a core level with people to keep them in a loving and peaceful state. So they'll only listen to them for short periods of time. And so, like, I'll use the Beatles for an example. Like, the vibration of the Beatles music and the words that are coming out of their mouth, it's creating a frequency that brings us back to a loving state. So, it's easier for a lot of people to listen to that for long periods of time.
You know what's interesting is Gabe does not like the Beatles,
Yes.
but also he has struggled with self-talk his whole life.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, he came from a very, very challenging environment growing up. It makes sense why he feels that way, and he's done a lot of work around that. But it's kind of interesting because I just thought about that and I was like, yeah, he
Yep.
struggles with that negative self talk a lot. And not saying he has to listen to the Beatles to get better, but you know, it just occurred
I'm
to
gonna
me.
say it. He has to listen to the Beatles to just
I
kidding.
used to love the Beatles, but
Yeah.
I was a teenager in the 90s when everything in the 60s and 70s was like the coolest stuff ever.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's like more of the vibration and like the channeling, you're channeling that vibration to people. You're channeling that message and that energy to people so that they can heal and so that they can receive what they need. But there are so many things that are used as channeling. Like music is a form of channeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can ask a lot of writers, they're like, I don't know where that came from. Like musicians are like, I don't know where that came from. It just
Mm-hmm.
came to me. It's a form of channeling. And we receive that information, and it is information that brings us back together as a whole.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like
There's
the short version of
we
what
don't have
channeling is.
short versions of anything. That being said, though, we probably should wrap this up for today
Yeah.
and have so much more to talk about in future episodes. I am excited too because we do have some people on the docket that we're just trying to get scheduled in to the calendar for interviews, which I'm really excited about. I'm just going to remind people too, if you want to talk about something interesting, even if you are not a person who would consider themselves woo, we're open to talk to anybody
Yes.
because I just think that this is all fascinating. And if you're interested, we would like to talk to you too.
Yes, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we sign off for today?
Um,
I'm going to put you on the spot.
I love you all.
Wind Eagle, I know you're there somewhere. You have something to say.
Maybe we will ask him to step in and channel at a different time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks everyone again for listening, and we will see you next week.
Yes, bye. Thanks everybody for listening. If you liked what you heard today, please subscribe and check the show description for the links to the show. We would love to hear your thoughts below on this episode, as well as anything that you'd like us to talk about on future episodes. Remember, everybody, you are unique just the way you are, and that is why they call us Woo.
Mm-hmm.